Can I ask Luke Melbourne to come up, please? Luke around, and also Gary Wills. So they come down here, ladies and gentlemen.
Hi all. Once again, I'd like to thank you all for coming along and supporting such a great event. And thanks very much to the committee for organising such a great lunch and for a great cause. It's good to see lots of familiar faces and everyone getting together. I got nominated today to do the honour of introducing Gary to the Hall of Fame. He was a professional in the gym when I started as an amateur, and I always loved the sport, but watching Gary train and spar and stuff really cemented my love for it. I heard the guys before us speaking about Doug Sam, and some of the best memories I had as a kid was watching Doug Sam and Gary Wills go at it in the gym. You could watch them all day. The sparring was world class, and we all know Doug, big part of Islander boy. Gary, they used to call him Salt and Pepper, black and white, but there's great memories to watch them. So when I got asked today to nominate him, it was a real honour and a privilege, and I jumped at the chance. So Gary Wills was born on the same day as Cassius Clay, January the 17th, and he grew up in a house opposite Steve Della, so that's how he got into the boxing. He trained with John Burke as well. He just got inducted, and an interesting fact is for Gary's fights, he had John and Steve in his corner, from amateur all the way through to his last pro fight, so that's quite the feat. Gary had his first fight at 16 as an amateur, and ended up having about 40 amateur fights. Only had 2 losses, so he had a great amateur career. He was always a big lump of a bloke, believe it or not. Anyway, he was fighting at super heavyweight at the time, and then in the off season, Steve and John got him involved with Greg Oliphant, the rugby league icon, and he did some cross training with him over the holidays, and he lost a lot of weight and went down a couple of divisions, but by then he'd qualified for the Australian titles by the super heavyweight division, and that was the year that they were picking the winners to go to the 1990 Commonwealth Games. So Steve rung Arthur Tunstall, who was in charge of the amateur boxing at the time, and asked him if he could fight in his new division, and Arthur said no, as you'd imagine, and he made him fight in the super heavyweight. So he went through all the way through the semi-finals and lost to a pretty accomplished bloke from Adelaide, and missed out in the Com Games. But that's when his professional career started, and he had a fantastic professional career. He won 2 Australian titles, won the OPBF title, and he won his first Australian title in Sydney against Daniel Saylor, and he also picked up the OPBF title that night. So that was a huge effort. Good on you, Gary. It was funny, as I said, he won 2 titles in the professionals, but he never lost the title in the ring. So after he won the Australian title for the first time, it was a different era back then. He won it in April, and he fought a further 4 times and defended it 4 times before the end of the year. So the boys were a lot more active back then, even the top 1 boys and the champs like Gary, they were fighting really regularly. He had a big fight booked in. It became quite the attraction, and he had a big fight booked in Sydney in the February of that year, and the powers that be, being a Queenslander, he was injured and should have been given an exemption, but they stripped him of the title, and a fellow called Bakua Kakachi became the Australian BK Katasi. Sorry, BK Katasi became the Australian champ. So. Being the ex-champ, he had first crack at Bakua, the new champ, and beat him later on that year. Got his title back, got his APBF title back, and was ranked in the top 10 in the British Commonwealth, and also got as high as number 9 in the WBC, which was a huge effort at the time. Now, from there, the IBF was starting to make some waves in the world scene, and Steve had some negotiations and actually had him penciled in to fight for an IBF World Cruiserweight title. And to get the negotiations rolling, he had to sign an agreement with them. Now, WBC got word of it, and the fight fell through, but once again they stripped Garry of the title, and so he lost his ranking and lost the belt there. But he went on to have a great career, 17 wins, 5 losses. As I said, a 2-time Australian champion, 2-time OPBF champion, and world ranked. And I'm lucky enough to be still heavily involved in the sport. I'm a coach down at Fortitude Boxing, and it's been great the last couple of years. Garry has come full circle. He's back in the gym every afternoon, as his sons have both shown a lot of promise and look to carry on the family name, so they're in there a lot now. So to hear the man from himself, he's Garry. And just a couple of questions you want me to tackle. They called you the Wizard. Why they called you the who named you and where'd that come about?
So I'm not sure. I remember that I think we were looking at someone called me Magic and something else, and I wasn't sure, and they said, "Oh no, we call you the Wizard because you work that's with your hands."
Yeah, I always knew him as the Wizard, Garry the Wizard Wills. And as I said, both the boys, Kobe got his first fight in a couple of weeks, and Noah's won the state title this year, so both the boys are following in their father's footsteps. Must be a great thrill to see him carrying on the family name and being back in the gym and being back around Steve and all the boys.
100%. As you guys know, that I call Steve my dad because he took me in when I was quite young. So Steve looked after me for a long time, and then gone full circle again while I'm back in the gym now, also helping out in Fortitude and with the boys coming through now, and them doing really well. It's all about them now, and I really enjoy that. It's like, and all the other amateurs as well, and that are in the gym, and I go to another gym, elite, shouldn't say that out loud, but to help them out as well, just because I like enjoying helping other kids now and get them coming through.
No, it was awesome to see you come back through the doors and get training again. And I forgot to mention too, you came back a couple of years ago and won a Masters World title, so you've still got it. So over to you, mate.
Just before we go, I just want to thank everyone, like my family, my wife, Karen, and the boys for being here, and all my friends that are here as well. I appreciate it. Steve and Johnny wouldn't be here without you guys. One thing about Steve, and everyone in the ring would know about Steve, he doesn't teach you just about the box, but he teaches you how to be a person, a really nice guy, And to see him and what he does with these two boys, and pulling them up when they're wrong, and it's all about the atmosphere in the gym and the boxing community. It's amazing. Look at the guys here. It's unreal.
That's awesome. And mate, a bit of a special treat and a memento today, being inducted in to get the honour of getting off his sons Kobe and Noah. They get to induct their old man to the Hall of Fame. Something I'll never forget. On behalf of myself and Fortitude Boxing and everyone, thanks again to the Boxing Hall of Fame, and thanks a lot to Garry the Wizard Wills.
Boxing Hall of Fame people for nominating me and putting me into the Hall of Fame. Much appreciated. Thank you so much.
Well done, Garry. Thank you so much. And thank you very much, Luke, as well. Okay, now we'll just move along. I'd like to invite Scott Tweedy up, please, to introduce our next inductee, Scott Tweedy. Yeah, give him a round of applause.
Thank you, Dennis. Thank you once again. I seem to be up here longer than Dennis, really. Garry, thank you very, very much, Garry, for all the kind words that you had to say. And we wish your sons all the very, very best in the ring and their boxing future. And your attitude to the game, Garry, just personifies the fact that really in the boxing world, as we all are here, we're all part of a very, very large family. And it's a very, very warm place to be, believe you me. And I appreciate all your words, Garry. Thank you.